This is News Nexus, and today we are asking a question that is both unsettling and unavoidable. Is World War III already starting? Around the globe, we see conflicts intensifying. Ukraine in Europe, Taiwan in Asia, and the Middle East once again in turmoil. At first glance, these may look like regional crises, but when we step back, a pattern begins to emerge. One that eerily mirrors the buildup to past global wars. Small sparks, unexpected events, rival alliances, and miscalculations. That is how history tells us world wars are born. The real question is, are we already in those early stages right now? Let's begin in Ukraine, the battleground that has shaken Europe to its core. What began back in 2014 with Russia's annexation of Crimea exploded in 2022 into a full-scale war. Ukraine is fighting not only for its survival, but also, in many ways, for the future balance of power in Europe. Billions of dollars in Western aid and advanced weaponry flow into Kyiv. Russia, meanwhile, has transformed into a war economy, relying on military production, alliances with Iran and North Korea, and deepening ties with China. This is not just a war between two nations. It is a proxy war where NATO, the United States, and the European Union face off against a resurgent Russia. Think about this. If the conflict were to cross into NATO territory, say a missile strike in Poland or an attack along the Baltic borders, the alliance would be compelled to respond. That chain reaction could turn a regional war into the start of World War III. Now shift your focus to Asia, where the Taiwan Strait has become one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the world. China has repeatedly declared that Taiwan must be reunified with the mainland, by force if necessary. For the United States, Taiwan is more than just an island. It is a crucial link in the global semiconductor supply chain, a strategic partner, and a symbol of America's commitment to the Pacific. Every week, Chinese fighter jets cross into Taiwan's defense zone. U.S. warships patrol nearby waters. Japanese forces increase their readiness. The margin for error is razor thin. Imagine a scenario. A Chinese jet collides with an American surveillance aircraft, or a missile test misfires near Taiwan. In such a tense environment, one accident could trigger a war that drags in not only China and the U.S., but also Japan, South Korea, Australia, and beyond. Then there is the Middle East, a region where old rivalries and new alliances collide. Israel faces a volatile mix of conflicts, an ongoing war with Hamas, rising tensions with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and a shadow war with Iran that stretches from Syria to the Persian Gulf. Meanwhile, Iran grows closer to Russia and China, reshaping its place in the global order. The United States, though weary of endless wars, still maintains bases and fleets across the region. Saudi Arabia plays both sides, strengthening ties with China while still cooperating with Washington. Add the chaos in Yemen, the fragile situation in Iraq, and the broader Sunni-Shia divide, and it's clear, the Middle East is one spark away from igniting. If Israel and Iran were to face off directly, or if U.S. forces became directly engaged, it could quickly pull in powers far beyond the region. When you connect these flashpoints, Ukraine, Taiwan, the Middle East, you begin to see a larger picture. The world is dividing into blocs, much like it did before the First and Second World Wars. On one side, we see the United States, NATO, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and increasingly India. On the other side, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea are forging an uneasy but powerful partnership. This polarization isn't just diplomatic, it's military, economic, and ideological. It is the 21st century version of the Cold War. But unlike the Cold War, where two superpowers faced off, today's landscape has multiple players, each with its own ambitions, its own red lines, and its own nuclear arsenal. War today isn't just fought on battlefields. It's fought in markets, supply chains, and digital networks. Russia has weaponized its oil and gas, cutting supplies to Europe in retaliation for sanctions. China uses its Belt and Road Initiative to expand influence across Africa, Asia, and even Europe. The United States, meanwhile, is restricting China's access to critical technologies, especially semiconductors. These aren't just economic disputes. They are preparations for war in an era where technology, energy, and data will be as decisive as tanks and missiles. If a new world war comes, it will not only be fought with soldiers and weapons, but with trade embargoes, cyberattacks, and control of critical industries. And that brings us to the invisible battlefield: cyberspace. State-backed hackers are constantly probing financial systems, communication networks, and power grids. A well-timed cyber attack could cripple a nation without firing a single shot. We've already seen glimpses of this. Attacks on hospitals, pipelines, and banking systems. Sometimes blamed on hostile states, sometimes hidden in shadows. In a future global war, cyber strikes could blind militaries, paralyze cities, and disrupt entire economies. No discussion of global war is complete without the nuclear factor. Russia has openly reminded the world of its arsenal, warning of unimaginable consequences if pushed too far. North Korea continues its missile tests. Iran inches closer toward nuclear capability. The deterrence that once kept the Cold War from turning hot is becoming less reliable as more nations gain nuclear power and as political rhetoric grows sharper. One miscalculation, one wrong assumption, could unleash destruction on a scale humanity has never seen. Another factor often overlooked is domestic politics. Inflation, unemployment, and social unrest weaken governments. Leaders, facing anger at home, sometimes look outward, using foreign conflicts to unite their people, to distract from economic failures, or to fuel nationalism. This is not new. History shows us that domestic instability often spills outward, dragging nations into wars they might otherwise avoid. Today, we see rising nationalism not only in Russia and China, but in democracies as well. When nations become more divided internally, their leaders become more aggressive externally. So where does this leave us? Are we witnessing the opening acts of World War III? Some experts argue that the war has already begun. Not in the traditional sense of armies clashing on every continent, but in what they call a hybrid world war. A war fought through sanctions, cyber attacks, proxy battles, disinformation, and economic weapons. It may not feel like a global war yet, but consider this. Countries are already choosing sides, already arming themselves, already forming alliances that are preparing for a larger conflict. The danger lies in escalation. All it would take is one incident, a missile in Poland, a collision in the Taiwan Strait, a strike on U.S. troops in the Middle East, and the entire world could be dragged in. History teaches us something chilling. In 1914, when World War I began, people thought it would be over in months. In the 1930s, many believed Hitler could be appeased. Both times, the world underestimated the danger. Both times, humanity paid the price. Today, we may be repeating the same mistake, dismissing the warning signs until it's too late. But not all hope is lost. Diplomacy, global trade, and the shared memory of past world wars are powerful forces working against escalation. Leaders know the costs of a third world war. The question is whether those restraints will hold, or whether national pride, miscalculation, and ambition will override caution. World War III will not come with an official declaration. It will creep in, crisis by crisis, until one day the world wakes up and realizes it's already here. Ukraine, Taiwan, the Middle East. Cyber warfare. Nuclear threats. The signs are all around us. The choice before humanity is simple. Step back from the brink or plunge into a conflict unlike anything we've seen before. This has been News Nexus. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, do you think World War III has already started, or can we still change course? Stay alert, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next report.